Hey everyone, Blade Ninja 009 or Aaron, aka. Um, so I was tagged. That's pretty cool. Bragio D Ace tagged me to do this anime tag, which, in case you don't know what it is, I get tagged by another YouTuber, or you tag someone as a YouTuber, and you have to do a whole bunch of questions and answer them. I'm gonna start off by saying I'm tagging the anime girl and EDMS Shiro. Those are the people I'm tagging. So without further ado, let's actually go into these questions. Alright, question number one. What is the first anime you ever watched? Now, I have a quick story for this. When I was like around 7 or 8 years old, I was taught from an early age because I wanted to buy, I think, Metal Gear Solid, and that was an M-rated game. And so my parents taught me at an early age the whole concept was, violence and, violence in media and, what's good and bad in terms of that. So, why I say that is what leads this into this part is, so I was in Blockbuster, if you remember what store that was, and in case you don't, it was a place you rented movies from, way back when. I went to Blockbuster with my dad when I was a kid, and I was looking through cartoons, what it was known as cartoon section back then, and I found this thing called Guyver, the Bio Boosted Armor, and it was on VHS, and I immediately picked it up, and I went up to the counter. And the guy goes, sir, this is an M-rated show. It's got violence and gore. And my dad's like, he looked at me, he goes, you understand what that means? And I'm like, yeah, I understand. And he goes, okay. And I ended up watching Guyver as my first actual foray into anime. It was my very first anime. I know a lot of people have said Pokemon and Digimon, and I watched those later on, because, those were coming out around that time period too. But, yeah, my first foray was an adult, kind of violent anime that I still consider one of my favorites to this day. It was awesome. But yeah, I think that explains a lot about my anime choices now in terms of certain anime. But it was, first anime, Guyver. Later on I would go into Outlaw Star, Cowboy Bebop, the whole shebang of Toonami back then and such. But first one, Guyver. Alright, next question. What is your favorite and least favorite anime genre? Easy one. My favorite genre is romance. I know that's surprising for a lot of people, but I am a huge fan of romance anime. Now, I will say that romance anime I'm also very strict on, like in terms of I critique it if it's not a certain way. I like my romance anime not too serious. Like Clannad is a serious romance, but it doesn't start off initially as that. It builds up into the serious romantic tones and such. And I love it because of that. It doesn't take itself too seriously initially, and only later on becomes serious, and it's already set the tone up for the romance elements. There was another show, Romeo X Juliet, which I did not like, and I was recommended to watch it by a friend of mine, and she said, you'd like it. I didn't like it because I think the romance in it was just right away slammed into your face, and so that's why I am very strict for romance, but I do find it my favorite anime genre. Least favorite, also easy, hentai. If you watch hentai, hey, listen, I'm not gonna criticize you or critique you. It's your own thing. But hentai anime to me is just ugly and defiles what anime is. I think it does some really creepy and disgusting things with it. And too often, they try to disguise themselves as good shows, and it just doesn't happen. It's just creepy design in nature. So I don't like hentai anime. So next question: how many anime have you seen so far? This is the hardest question I think I've seen people answer, because in the sense that I know I'm not new to anime. I've been born and raised essentially with anime. I was taught early on. I never watched it right away, but I watched later on a Life Speed Racer and Gigantor and Voltron, some of the older anime. And then I started watching, of course, this newer stuff. But I've watched easily, I'd say, over maybe 400, 500 anime shows. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. When I started high school, way back when, I started watching on a lot of those websites that let you stream the subtitled or fan subtitled shows, and I watched a lot of anime from that way. I don't watch them now on those websites because they kind of do hinder the whole anime community and such. But I watch them on Crunchyroll and stuff like that, legitimate websites. But I also used to watch Anime Network on demand. I used to watch Anime on Demand, which is a whole different thing where I was at the time. So yeah, I've watched a lot of anime. Easily, no kidding, maybe 400 to 500 anime. Yeah, so next question. What is the last anime that made you cry? That would be Canon. Kanon. Canon made me cry, I think, 3 times over the course of, like, I think 24 episodes, I believe, or something like that. It was a very emotional anime. It had some amazing setup. It had some amazing plot. I consider it one of my top, like, 20 all-time anime. It was so phenomenal. And I'm going to rebel on this question a little bit. I want to go into the anime, those 2 anime before that. I'm going to pull a Bragio here. I'm rebelling. I also cried with Clannad, of course, which I talked about earlier, and also Dusk Mania Amnesia, which was I rewatched both of those shows recently because I consider them awesome shows. So if you haven't watched those shows and you like, heart-filled shows that have romance and comedy and such like that, watch those. Very good shows. All right, 5th question. What anime are you currently watching? I'm watching 3 anime currently, actually. I'm watching Charlotte, which was recommended to me by the anime girl. It's by the creators of Angel Beats. It looks really, really good so far. I'm waiting for it to finish completely before I finish it because I'm one of those people that I love binge watching new anime series in particular. I'm also watching Baccano for a anime request by FreeCat. I know that's taking me a long time to do because it's one of those shows that I really like it, but for me to review it well, I think I have to kind of slow down the pacing of watching that show to kind of enjoy it more and to analyze it more. I am also watching a mature anime which I plan on reviewing very soon called The Fruit of Grisaya. That is an anime I know very few people know about, and very few people I know are talking about it. I will review it soon. It is something that I can't wait to review because it's something that I think has a lot of anime tones that don't get shown in anime in general. There's a lot of very mature content in it. So, yeah, those are the current shows I'm watching right now. 6th question. Who was your first anime crush? My first anime crush was Naru Narasugawa from Love Hina. I was in love with that girl back when I was younger. I thought she was awesome. I mean, I know she was an early example of a tsundere because she was a very tough girl that, had some cutesy elements to her, but she was awesome to me. I still kind of have her, like, a love thing for her, even when I got older. And I'll rebel on this question too. After Naru, like when I started getting a little older, I fell in love with Mizuho Kazami from Police Teacher. So yeah, that was my first anime crush, and then my anime crush after that. And on to the last question. Name an anime that you think deserves more love. Also easy. School Days. A lot of people tell me how much they hate School Days. Oh, it doesn't have realistic elements. Oh, it's, overly violent and over-sexualized content and stuff like that. And the ending is notorious for being this ending of, it has such a crazy ending. And I'm spoiling it a little bit, but the main character gets killed by his girlfriend at the time. And, people are saying, that's unrealistic, who would have, sex with multiple partners. And then, listen, I'm a criminal justice major in college, so trust me, I've heard stories that would mimic or even be worse than, those stories in School Days. And it's very realistic. It happens, people get killed in that nature, sometimes daily, sometimes yearly. You'll hear about the news of a crazy girlfriend going psycho on her boyfriend or vice versa. So it's not that unheard of. And that show, I think, gets a lot of crap for being, what they consider unrealistic, when I think it's actually very realistic. And yeah, I like that show. I mean, I know people dislike it, but that's a show I think that should get some more love. I think people should appreciate it more for what it's showing to everyone. So, yeah, thanks for watching this really prim and proper slideshow. That's my ending slide. I know it might have seemed really simple, but I think it kind of develops perfectly how I do my simple reviews. So I wanted to keep it simple also. So I did the slideshow, our PowerPoint. And I'll tell you, this is my 3rd take. I messed this up twice prior to this because I kept screwing up one of the last slides, and it really was just me messing up. But anyways, yeah, so again, I tagged the anime girl and EDMS Shiro. For that anime girl, I know you can do this very well because I've already seen you speak very well in your videos. EDMS, I've already do kind of updates with black and white text in PowerPoint or whatever you use for that, so I think you can answer the questions without having to use your real voice if you want to. But yeah, that's it for this, guys. I'm not gonna say the whole that's it, and I'll see you guys in the next review because it's not a review. But I hope you guys enjoyed this content, and yeah, could keep on doing this. This actually is pretty fun. I think a lot of people like this anime tag thing. So I want you guys that I tag to keep this alive. You know, be out there with that. As always, guys. Talk to you later. Have a good one. Bye.